Hi, I'm Mary Kopczynski, the CEO of RegAlytics, and I'm here to give you an update on this week's 28,664 regulatory alerts. And I'm telling you, for us, this has been a beautiful fall in the New York area, just gorgeous. But unfortunately, the topic of the week is hurricanes. And I know it because it's creeped into every other topic I review, from diversity and inclusion to electric vehicles, from cyber to crypto. Every single feed this week has some sort of alerting about storms, which usually tips me off that it's big, and it is. I already mentioned a few months ago that I've started to show an uptick in alerts about extreme weather, heat warnings, unprecedented storms. But wow, this week there were 381 regulatory alerts on extreme weather issues. That's not normal. In 2021, there were 1,500. In 2022, there were 3,100. In 2023, there were 3,700. And this year already, there are 4,554, and there's still 3 months to go. One of the recurring themes and concerns is the fact that with the recent congressional short-term extensions of the budget, it didn't add any additional funding for FEMA. And also, the Small Business Administration, which administers a lot of emergency loans and funding, is running out of funds just ahead of another monster hurricane. Look, obviously, there's going to be some sort of a deal where it's fixed, but I want to be clear that no matter what the media says, the budget is squarely left to Congress. Section 8 of Article 1 says the Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises, to pay the debts and provide for the common defense and general welfare of the United States. So when it comes to matters of budget, the president can certainly push for things, but it's really Congress. And so if the budget shortfall isn't addressed and it ends up becoming an election issue about, let's say, Harris versus Trump, I just remind you that you can't blame everything on the office of the president. And similarly, you can't expect the office of the president to be able to operate effectively if it doesn't have the appropriate budget to do so. So if, let's say, you need loan officers and underwriters to assess damage and write loans, how are you going to do that with no budget to hire them? Are you going to ask people to volunteer? Would you yourself volunteer? Think about it. And if there's no money for the underwriters to even give out in the first place, what's the point? So you may as well just let everyone fend for themselves. And it didn't say anywhere in the Constitution the president is responsible for helping people in emergencies. In fact, Article 4, Section 4 says, the United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government and shall protect each of them against invasion and on application of the legislature or of the executive when the legislature cannot be convened against domestic violence. There's no contemplations of storms or bad weather, and it's really up to the states to fend for themselves. And look, if we're pushing on other issues to leave decisions to the states, then by default, we would also leave funding to the states. Look, I'm a weirdo, I know, because I'm way more obsessed with the rules of the game than the game itself. But if you can change the rules, you can change the outcome of who wins. So I love watching the rules. And don't even get me started on insurance and insurance regulators. The insurance industry is feeling significant strain with the increase in emergencies and floods, and the states are causing problems when they're not allowed to end coverage. So it's a real problem. But in completely other news, the regulator of the week is Illinois, which just announced a $239.5 million investment by Chrysalis Biosciences to establish Illinois' first sustainable aviation fuel plant, creating at least 35 jobs. And also, Illinois agencies everywhere are working hard to remind all employers with 15 or more employees, and think, Chicago's in Illinois. Anyone with 15 or more employees will be required to include salary and benefit information in job postings starting January 1st. And that's it this week for RegAlytics. We have the global supply chain of the world's regulatory alerts in one very easy to use place. If you need a solution for anything related to regulation, give us a call.